Alright, mold making time. This time we're gonna shoot for the stars. Creature bait. There are a ton of creature baits out there. There are many others like it, but this one is mine. So this is gonna be a tall task, but we're just gonna start shaping and see kind of what we can maybe come up with here. I need to flatten. Actually, I need to get it a little bit more pliable. Just need to work it to where it's a little bit warm and easier to manipulate here. All right, so we have something that's much easier to shape. And let's see. We're gonna kind of do like almost a cylinder top that kind of maybe. I actually have a creature bait design that I designed years ago that I was gonna have made into a full CNC injection mold, but that just didn't happen. And this is gonna kind of be a rough kind of spin-off of that design, because there's no way to create that design from clay. That's just not happening. But it's got this teardrop kind of shape to it. Yeah. So that's the top. The hook would come out here. And then obviously, you know, we would have some legs come out the bottom. So just to give you kind of a rough, very rough idea of what this thing is going to look like. Imagine those being the flippers, so to speak, or the appendages. So we're just going to kind of keep shaping the body here. And this is actually, it's actually a little too thick, so I need to just kind of make the whole thing smaller to an extent here. Just kind of cut off some areas that are just too bulky. Too bulky for this to work, so just need to kind of shave off some plastic, really, or excuse me, some clay, and just kind of take this down a few notches, and now we can, you know, maybe smooth back out some of our surfaces here, you know, because most creature baits are no more than ½ an inch thick, and we don't want this one to be the oddball out now, do we? So we're kind of gonna have wings on the side, so to speak, and then we're gonna have these little indentions up front that kind of make the face of it, so to speak. It's kind of hard to explain, but this is obviously quite a rough draft, but that's sort of kind of the idea. So it kind of has a cylinder top, or a narrower top, wings, and then this face, sort of, and there'll be like some little eye bumps right there that I'll add later. So we're just going to kind of try and just kind of shape things as evenly as possible here to begin with. And I'll still need to kind of make this a wee bit smaller. Alright, so I've put this little notch here on top, and that is to catch the hook. So I have flipping in mind with that, so to speak. So if you can imagine, you rig this thing Texas rig, your hook comes through the bottom. Okay, here's the bend of your hook, it comes out the top. You can then wedge, instead of skin hooking it, you can just hook it into this notch, and hopefully that will give it a little bit more weedless properties. So what I'm thinking is kind of putting a couple of eyeballs, and literally I'm just gonna make this little round clay dots here and put eyeballs on this thing. It'll kind of be like that, something like that. I may actually recess the eyes, just cut them out, but I'm gonna try this first. Just kind of these little eye dots, so to speak. and just kind of see if we like, maybe kind of makes it look like a shrimp. Something like that. And then of course, I don't have the appendages made yet, but then the appendages will come off the front like that. So that's kind of the sort of the concept that we have. So now we're actually going to kind of work on one of these appendages. So we're just going to kind of mash this flat, kind of maybe make this part a little more narrow, and then we're just going to kind of sort of cut a little pattern maybe into the flap here. So we're just going to kind of do something like that, just to give the flaps maybe a little bit of character, you know, so it's not just generic. Yeah, something like that, and then we'll make this pointy, so we'll just kind of have it sort of come to a point there like that. Yeah, something like that. Then mash this flat, just kind of flatten it a little bit. So we'll kind of have that one like that, and then let's get the inverse of it, the other side here. And the kicker is going to be attaching these to the body, but I knew I couldn't do it all as one piece to start. That just kind of seemed a little implausible, so we'll kind of again do something like that. You know what, that's not thick enough. I'm gonna have to start over. Okay, so there's that side, and again we're just gonna kind of cut in a little bit and then kind of out that way, then sort of try and make this a point like we did that other side there. Something like that. Yeah, we'll have to do a little bit more refining, of course, much more I'm afraid, but something like that. And so if we just kind of take what we have, you know, sort of, kind of, that is kind of what we're gonna have here for our creature bait. It's kind of a it's kind of a creature bait with claw appendages. You know, it doesn't have like a beaver style look or anything like that. It's a true crawfish in a way, but the body is much more creature-like. And if I was very talented at this, I'd put a few more tentacles out here. But you know, we don't want to make this thing so crazy that I can't even, you know, fire it in the oven and get a working master, you know, because after this I still have to do a bunch of sanding, and I virtually won't be able to even touch the claws with the sandpaper. I just feel like I'll only wreck them, and then I'll be pretty upset about it. So, but yeah, it's kind of what we're going for. And now comes the fun, impossible part. I basically have to just press that on there. There's really no good way to do this. I'm just going to do it right behind the eyes. Just going to kind of lay it flat and just kind of do my best just to work it in. And the really tough part is going to be picking this bad boy up, yeah, and not just completely ruining it. So yeah, we want to just attach it best that we can there. Okay, and then have the appendage come out. Okay, and then this one here. Let me scoot the camera back a smidge. There we go. Sorry, this is tight quarters, y'all. I'm trying to do all this intricate stuff over a camera, and that doesn't always play nice. So we're just gonna mash it in kind of behind the eyes. Just kind of work it into the bait. I hear you, buddy. My son is playing in his little playpen in the background. That's always a good sound to hear. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, y'all. The kicker is just, can I actually like pick this up in one piece and not break it when I'm sanding it later? That's, you know, geez. A lot of work goes into this, and you hate to just break it. Alright, and we're just going to give kind of the back of this thing just a few kind of little dots and bumps. Again, just to kind of add a little bit of character here. Just kind of some little beads. Let me try to get the camera maybe a little bit closer. I don't want to get it too close because then it won't focus all that well. But I want it close enough that you can kind of see what we're doing. So, yeah, just a couple of little dots up here, kind of like small eyes, just to give it a little bit of life, a little bit of character. But I do think that this hook bump is going to be very nice. I think that's actually gonna serve a very good practical purpose that I think will be very nice. So I added a little bit more clay up here just to beef up the junction of the appendages. So when you actually get the bait in your hand, I don't want that to be too thin because I don't want it to break apart. So yeah, that's kind of what we have. All right, now we're going to very gently put it into this baking dish, and then we're going to bake it on 275 degrees for about 20 minutes. You're supposed to bake it 15 minutes per 1/4 inch of thickness, and that's about 1/2 inch. So we might go about a half hour or so. But yeah, that's we're gonna go with that. And these aren't quite bent the same way right up here, but you know, nothing's perfect, I guess. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna go with. Alright, so here it is. We baked it for about 25 minutes, and it is done. If I can just get it off the table here without breaking it. So that's kind of what we're dealing with, and it's kind of starting to cool off. So you know, we're gonna be very gentle with the sanding on this one. You know, it's gonna be very difficult to sand anything to do with the appendages, and even sanding the body, you can still break your appendages if you put too much stress in the wrong place. But I do think it has a really cool side profile, and this is a big bait. You know, here's a grass grenade. So this is definitely a bigger profile bait, and that's probably just due to my inexperience making this kind of bait. You know, I would prefer this to be smaller now that I've kind of seen it, but you know, I should have had something like this to go off of, and I would have made this a little bit smaller. But this is what we have, and I think it'll be really cool. So yeah, there's kind of our alien creature. So you know, we just, again, like all of our baits here, we just want to smooth out the imperfections from the hand sculpting. You know, we can still see kind of fingerprints left over and things like that. You know, I have to be real careful sanding these little bumps because, you know, I can just pop those right off if I'm not careful. They're not a part, you know, those were added on after the fact, so they're not in the clay necessarily. So, you know, we're definitely going to be sanding and sculpting. Well, not really sculpting anymore, but sanding and smoothing edges and just seeing, you know, how and where we can clean up, just kind of clean up the general look here and try to make it look as best we can. I actually like the way that this is up top. Doesn't really need a whole lot of detail there, but you can see kind of where I patched some things. You know, I want to try to smooth that over as much as possible. We are coming along quite nice. Alright, and now we're just going to do a very light coat of fast curing polyurethane. So, very light coat. And, you know, this isn't a wooden lure that I need to seal, you know, for water purposes or anything. I just want to try to add some gloss to it. So we are literally just going to paint on some polyurethane. A very, very thin coat. So thin that we're just painting it on. Just enough to give it a little bit of shine. Alright, so we have a nice kind of shiny, glossy, I don't know if that's coming through, but we have a nice, shiny, glossy master. So now we have our box. And this is just a Lego set. And I built a box out of just these Lego pieces. The bottom is actually from the Lego box itself. And then I just kind of mashed it into sort of a little modeling clay perimeter, so to speak, so that we can then attach the box to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do like we always do. A very thin layer of Vaseline is going on this thing as sort of a mold release. So I don't want to use too much of this because, you know, I'm wondering if maybe this causes maybe a dull bait. I know I say this every time, but I don't plan on retrieving the master in one piece, especially with these little appendages. So, you know, I'm not too worried about trying to have a clean mold release, but I do think it is a good idea to add some sort of lubrication to it. So we're just gonna paint that on very gently in some of these areas, some of the more sensitive areas. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're just gonna pick this up very gently, very, very, very gently. All right, now it's time to place it. Actually, I need a little bit of glue. Alright, so I added a little bit of Instant Bond to it. So now, I'm going to take our master. Actually, we'll do it this way. Very gently. Okay. We'll just kind of set it on the glue. Okay, and I think that looks good right there. Now we're mixing a little silicone there. Okay, here we go. Wish me luck on my little creature bait thing. Wish I could pour this a little slower, but it is really coming out. Alright, the bait is covered. We'll pour the rest of this in. And the next time we see that master will be after the mold is complete. Okay. All right. Come on. Come on. Now you can see that my hand stirring didn't quite get it stirred perfectly on the bottom. That's all right. So a lot of people have asked me where to get silicone if they want to make their own mold. So this MPK Enterprises, I guess that's in California. I don't really know what all that's about. This comes from a website called Hobby Silicone, and you buy it in a kit with the hardener. So that right there, so this is 9 pounds plus a pound of that. So this together I think was 130 bucks, and you can make a ton of stuff with this. So it's not the best silicone by any means. Some of my professional molds, like from Stinkx Baits, Lurecraft, Viva Molds, my buddy Brad Hardy, the Marling Baits Frog, you know, they're using a little bit better silicone. I know Nate Marling uses Alumilite, I believe, which is really good stuff, but this is a good just kind of value. You know, maybe for your first mold you can get like a 2-pound kit, I think, for relatively cheap if you just want to try it. So yep, that's the silicone that I have. I'll eventually move into some better stuff as I get better at mold making. Alright guys, well, it just dawned on me, this entire video, I haven't even like been on camera. I haven't said, hey, you haven't even seen my face. So, hi, I'm Chris. I do the world's worst fishing bait videos, and this is a fun little mold making project. I've always wanted to make a creature bait, and I said, well, that's going to be really hard to do with clay, which it is. If you wanted to do something even much more detailed than this, you know, you would be up for quite a task, but this is really fun stuff. I enjoy it. Hopefully the bait comes out well. Hopefully it looks okay in the water. You never know. I mean, you may spend hours fabricating a bait, pour a really good mold. You get it on a hook and it don't do crap. But hopefully this one will look okay. I'm not a master mold or master you know, lure crafter or anything like that. But you know, I can make some decent stuff, I feel like. But we'll see what it looks like. Hopefully the mold itself turns out well and we can get a good bait out of it. And then we'll go from there. All right, everybody, it's time to shoot. So I've already kind of gotten started because I know this video is going to be long. So I had some leftover pearl, some blue, and you can see I've already been pouring some other stuff, but I had some leftover blue and purple pearl. So we're gonna do like a capsule with this bad boy. So we're gonna do like a watermelon base capsule with this in the middle, with some hologram flake in the watermelon. I think it's gonna look really cool. So hopefully our first go with this thing turns out, and I'm excited to see it. Oh, there's a drop of water in there. How'd that get there? But anyway, the mold doesn't look near as pretty as I thought it would be, but I'm excited to see the bait. All right, so I have my watermelon here, and it's time for some black flake. This is large black flake. This is 0.062. All right. And then we're going to jazz it up with some silver hologram glitter, because why not? Always got to have some sparkle in your life. And so this is what our base color is going to be. So let's just kind of rotate that in real quick. All right. Yeah, so that's what our base color is. Let's lower the camera here. And it's time to pour a capsule. So, just like we do with the swim bait, just kind of let it kind of naturally flow to the sides and extremities here. And we'll probably do another layer since that's relatively thin. But you don't want to get it too thick because then you can't see through it down to the layer. So definitely got to be a little careful. Yeah, I should have, this needs to be a little bit hotter actually. And actually, the more I think about it, I kind of want to get a capsule in more places. So up there in the nose a little bit, on the edges of the claws. I just kind of want to make sure that the center color really is the center color. And yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of get it a little bit everywhere in a way. All right, I definitely like that better. All right, now it's time for the center part. So we're just gonna kind of drizzle those in there in sort of a just kind of little random pattern. All right. Yeah. It'll be nice and interesting. All right, and now it's time to pour the rest of the bait. So we'll kind of start here with the claws. Work our way around. Go up. Golly. Messy, messy, messy. All right, that looks about right. Okay. So hopefully that comes out. I can't really see the colors on the inside from the bottom. So I'm hoping that you can see the actual center colors, you know, the swirls. So I may have to lighten this up. All right, moment of truth. What do we have here? Hey, that's pretty cool. Okay, that's still kind of hot. All right, let's get it in the bath. But check that out. Look at that. Can y'all see that? You can see the swirl in the center. That is cool, and the bait is really cool. Let me, let's see. Guys, check this bad boy out. Let me get some of this flashing off here. If I can. You know what, I can probably just tear that. There we go. To an extent. Cool it off some more. Actually, yeah, we'll just look at that. Look at the capsule part in the middle. Just the way that the pearls kind of show through. That is sick. I've never had a hand pour creature mold. Oh my god, we got to make some more. All right, and another. We are turning them out because this is just too cool of a color. Yeah, that might be my favorite one yet. I did it just right. So I didn't do it too light like that one on the capsule, but it shows up a little better than the first one. All right, another one. Let's see how this one did. Just kind of can't get enough of these today. Let's see, yeah. All right, there's number 4. Looking real nice. All right, last not least. I just can't stop making these. Oh yeah. Figured I would just make them till I ran out of plastic, and I ran out of the plastic. But what I did is I also made this color in a few hand pour worms, which, you know, I wasn't able to do it as cleanly. But I mean, look at that. Look at how cool that is. You can kind of see the you know, the capsule throughout the top, and then of course it bleeds through on the sides a little bit. But I mean, that is a cool worm. That is really something special. All right, there are the 4 that we made. Well, technically we made 5, but I don't like that one as much. Tell me if you guys like it though. But there they are. These 2 got hit with a lot of black glitter, which I kind of like. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of the bait. All right, now we're just gonna take a quick peek in the water. Hey, look at that. There you go. Kind of hop it along here, yeah. I had that shaky head still rigged up. Pretty cool. Well, all right, guys. I hope you all have enjoyed this as much as I have. This has been a long time coming. Ever since I started, ever since I made my first open pore mold, I said I've got to do some sort of a craw or creature, and I drew a design years ago, and this is kind of based on that. So I really enjoyed it. I think the bait looks really cool. The only downside is its size. It is pretty big. So you probably, it may not flip into that thick grass mat quite as well because of the size, but it's very durable because it's thick. So it'll definitely be something to try on a bed fish. If I can go bed fishing this spring, we'll see. I think it's a really great bait. Please let me know what you think below. I've got kind of a cold right now, or else I'd try to take it fishing this weekend. But I'm gonna have to lay low, unfortunately. Maybe if I can bounce back by Sunday, today's Friday, maybe I'll try and take it out. I know I've got to take some frogs fishing. Exciting new frog video coming up soon. But yeah, I'm trying to just keep the content coming and not get myself sick. So anyway, we're gonna sign off. I'm sure this video's been long. If you have watched the whole thing, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it, or maybe even learned something, or at least learned a cool color. That's what we're here for. So thank you guys again. Comment down below, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.